Let us begin. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kabibhiriditam kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvi Grinanti E Bhurida Janaha. The nectar of thy sin-effacing utterances brings life and hope to those scorched by misery. They are extolled by the wise sages, and the mere listening to them should bestow auspiciousness on all. They confer every prosperity. Those who spread them broadcast are verily magnanimous. Last time we were discussing about some of the questions the Master Moshe was asking. Sri Ramakrishna replied to those, and we know the first question that Sri Master asked: what is the meaning of God realization? Most of the time we always speak of the God realization, but what does it mean? And Sri Ramakrishna replied to that. From the Upanishad we know that story we referred, the conversation between the Yajnavalkya and the Gargi, and there the question is, the Gargi ultimately asks the question, what is Brahman? And this question cannot be answered because it is a subjective knowledge. So obviously Yajnavalkya threatened, cautioned Gargi. Almost the same type, the God realization, Master Moshe is asking, what does it mean? But Sri Ramakrishna giving a straight answer, and he is telling, see, the thought, the idea of God realization different for different type of people. And the first is just starting in religious life, pravartaka. In Sanskrit it says pravartaka is beginning. For him God realization, God conception totally different. But still he is also having some idea of God realization. Swami Vivekananda afterwards, to explain, he said, a person standing some corner of earth, when looking at the sky and see the sun, he sees the sun. When he gives the description of the sun, that is also correct. And the person when on high up maybe in an aeroplane, observing the sun, his experience is different, but the same sun. And those who are very near by rocket reaching over there, different, but the same very sun. So similarly, the pravartaka, the first one who is explaining God, his idea and the conception of God will be different, but also true. It is also true, but not complete. So when we are talking about the God realization, who is asking, who wants to know? That is the question. Do you have really some background? Do you understand? Then only it will be easy for you. When someone said, what is God realization to Ma Sharadamani Devi? Ma, we are practicing religion for such a long time, practicing austerity, and whatever you said, we are also practicing those things, but we are not realizing God. What is the conception of God realization? Then Mother replied very nicely, sweetly. She said, do you think after God realization, you will grow two horns on your head? Nothing is going to change in the physically. But mentally, the attitude will be perfectly changed, completely changed. Your idea of life and idea of the world will be changed. That is, slowly the conception changes The first, the pravartaka, then the sadhaka, practicing. He gets some experiences, and slowly the faith comes. Then comes the siddha, known from his inner experience that God exists. That is the important thing. No doubt. The moment we are having some doubt, so much we have prayed to him and did the puja, then why all this thing to me? And like this, they are pravartaka. Because they don't have the complete faith on God. So this is the wonderfully Sri Ramakrishna explaining. The Panchama Veda is the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. And Veda means the knowledge. Again and again I try to say this. Some people asked me why you have given the name Panchama Veda. What is this? Is this Mahabharata? I told no, this is gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Kathamrita. Because it becomes so easy to understand the spirituality, religion, God realization after reading this gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. The more we read, more we practice, more we understand in a better way. Then comes Siddha, supremely perfect. And this type of people, they spread religion. They live religion. They are perfect people. Supremely perfect. Similarly, we also mentioned in the Vedantic ideology, Brahmagya, then Brahmavid, the Brahmavid Bariyan, Brahmavid Barishta. The person, sometimes we cannot understand why this type of behavior. He was also a God-realized person. Then why should he behave like this? Because he has realized God. But at the same time, the previous attitudes, the samskaras, impressions are still there. That is why he is also behaving in this manner. So this is the degrees. So we should not say they are all equal. They have the degrees. From the same university, maybe from the same subject, in the same subject, same year, people are graduating. But the degrees of understanding and the capacity to explain the subject are different, man to man, person to person. So similarly, in the spiritual world also, first is pravartaka, sadhaka, siddha, siddha. Now, the sannyasins, as because we come away from the family and the worldly life, so obviously we always think, as the Shankaracharya we read, all these things are nothing. So as because we have left the hearth and home, we have a temperament not to go and not to be attracted by the things of the world. But there are people who are attracted and happy with the things of the world. So this is the difference of ideas and thinking process, we can say. The one lady who the daughter's marriage was arranged, she was very happy, she was a devotee, she came to ashrama to get the blessings, and unfortunately met a brahmachari who newly joined. And the devotees, they cannot differentiate. So they came and with great joy told, Swamiji, please bless my daughter, that she is going to get married. And immediately this brahmachari, he has started his religious life in the beginning. So full of all those thoughts, and without considering anything, he said, you have suffered in the world after marriage, and again forcing your daughter to suffer in that way. Don't you understand that God realization is the goal of life, etc. And she was taken aback and afraid also. What will happen? Is coming as a curse or what? Somehow I met her, I told, no, it is nothing like that, it is all attitude. And God is for all. It's not only for the sannyasins, but the grihasthis also. And it is the children who wants what? That is why Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling, mother knows the best. Some people, they like to get the curry richly prepared with ghee and butter and chili and all that. They like it. Nothing wrong. And some people can't digest that. They will have only something boiled. Mother knows it best. So naturally it is different because of that. This pravartaka and sadhaka, they are the beginners. Then the moment they become siddha, a perfected one. But the perfection also, again, impression from the past they are carrying. That we have to understand. Then the last third question that he asked, in order to realize God, Master Masi asked, what is the meaning of God realization? Then the second he asked, what do you mean by God vision? And obviously, he is asking that God vision means these are the differences. Third question is coming, how does one attain it? God realization, God vision, how does one attain it? So practical questions. And Sri Ramakrishna, immediately he is telling, you have to take an attitude. Anyone can realize God. See, here is the difference between others and Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. He is not prescribing one method. You must do this. No. All the previous, the God realized soul, the avatara, and those who are great in the spiritual world, either the Shankara or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or so many, but they are only prescribing one path for all, whether you like it or not. That is the wrong thing. But here Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling that you can go to God through any path, whatever you like. Then he is suggesting the traditional paths like Santya, Dashya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhura. Then afterwards he is adding Santanava, the attitude of a child. So here the Santya means sages, those who are discriminating, Jnanamargi. So they will be constantly discriminating, oh, this world is illusory. Yagat teen kaal mein hai hi nahi. Some of the saints will say, this world is not as you see. It is only you are creating. Drishti, Srishtivada. You are creating. The world was not there. You have created only. There was only a small tree, and you saw so many things over that. Then one gentleman was telling about the ghost story. They were coming, it was a dark a night, and they, in a long distance, suddenly they saw, and they heard, and that particular area is haunted. The moment they reached over there, that thought, those stories, all crowded their mind. That thought also came, and someone told, hey, stop, look at that. Isn't something pretty peculiar? They all saw, young people, but started trembling. Everyone was afraid. As a lady with all covered head, white, calling them, beckoning them like this, and almost all of them, they wanted to run away. Then the gentleman who was telling, he told, I hold their hands and said, we are so many, why you are afraid? Let us go. She is calling us, let us go. What will happen? We will also die, that much, let us go. Somehow he inspired his friends, and one step, two step, slowly they reached over there, they found a banana tree. And the leaf of the banana tree is just moving like this, and the reflection of the moonlight, a little moonlight has come, and the reflection is over the banana leaf. It's just like the white, and when it is moving, it's as if someone is calling by the beckoning like this, come like that. So it is all imagination. They went over there, oh, this is nothing. Again, they got back their confidence and courage and was happy they could discover. So this way, when we discover this, the world is nothing but illusory, they are happy. And that is, what is God realization? happiness, peace. Whenever there is fear, the fear of losing, fear of acquiring, getting, we all suffer. When you are thinking, I have to get that, but immediately I calculate, shall I? Will it be possible? How to approach? And all these things, tension, fear. But when you don't want anything, there is no fear, no tension. Who is going to be the President of America? I don't bother. So I don't have any fear, anything. But those who are running after that, they will be collecting funds, collecting friends. Then they are also keeping contact with the media, so they are also spreading so many things. They can't sleep. So obviously, what is the problem? Desire. If you have the desire to get, you have to suffer. You don't have desire, no problem at all. So that is why Mother's solution to all the life's problem, if you don't have desire, you realize God. You are not having any desire for the worldly things, then what left? God. Very simple. But can we become desire free? That is the question. Something or other desire will be always there. From our childhood, the moment the consciousness comes, we want. Sometimes we want mother all the time, or you want to be on her lap all the time. Then the candy, then this, then that, slowly, so many desires will come. The more the desire, more we are suffering. So what is spiritual life? Going back to the root. What is the root? No desire. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, God realization is the goal of human life. And what is God realization? We don't understand what is God. So many peculiar ideas about God. Mother, Sharada Devi, she said, peace is God. God realization means peace. If you want peace, then don't do all this. So naturally, peace is the ultimate goal, which has been described by Sri Ramakrishna as God. How to realize that? Swami Vivekananda said, if you can see the divinity in all being, then you get that. So three are approaching to the same goal in three different ways, but ultimate that peace. Here we have to reach God. Sri Ramakrishna is telling us Shantya, means the approach of the sages. They are very quiet, calm, they observe all these things, see, and not affected because they are not attached. Then comes the Dashya, a person having every quality, all quality, but he is thinking, I am the servant of God. And this type of person, they are doing everything at the same time giving the credit to the master, like Hanumanji, a classical. Then comes Shakya. This is the beauty of the Hinduism. You are approaching God and thinking God as your friend. And you can converse with friend, you can tell him so many things, you can argue with the friend. And that is the attitude of the Arjuna. Constantly, he is talking with Krishna as his friend. Tantin, Swami Vivekananda used to call her Miss MacLeod. She had that attitude to Swami Vivekananda. She was not initiated, but totally 100% friendliness. She did so much for Swamiji. Very influential lady, very capable lady, and she organized all the meetings in different places for Swami Vivekananda. She used to organize the high society people, and she used to invite Swami Vivekananda to speak, and slowly the Vedanta spread it in America so quickly, because we can say the credit goes to Tantin. Swami Vivekananda used to love to call her Tantin, Miss MacLeod, Josephine MacLeod. And she used to go, her shoes on, in the room of Swami Vivekananda, where others, they are putting off the shoe. She said, no, my friend's room. She is to go and sit on the same chair of Swami Vivekananda. Nobody thought anything because that wonderful attitude. So the attitude of Shakya, then Vatsalya. This is easy for the motherly people. They naturally love children so much. And that love for the children, if it goes to God, cooking for God, preparing dresses for God. The other day I found a lady, she has come and holding one small something like that. I was thinking her bag. I told you can leave it here. No, I cannot. This is my God. She is carrying God all the time, everywhere. In this modern age, in America, and she is practicing that way. It was wonderful. And Sri Ramakrishna's time, there was a lady who became widow at the age of almost 6 or 8. And from then onwards, she was thinking that Krishna should come as her son, Agarmani Devi. Then afterwards, she became very famous as Gopal Erma. Gopal means the Krishna. And Gopal's mother, she came to see Sri Ramakrishna, and she was not much impressed because Sri Ramakrishna was going on asking, how many types of cooking you know? Can you prepare food like this, like they do? And she, when she was going back, she was thinking, what a sannyasi, constantly asking about the food and discussing about food. There's no talk about God or anything. And she was not much impressed. But when she went, her prayer that Krishna should appear as a small child and play with her, be on her lap, that was fulfilled. When she was closed eye, was praying to God, suddenly she found someone, a small little kid, laughing, jumping, running, touching, and she forgot that it was the God, and she prayed for 60 years for that. And even she was beating the child, scolding the child, forgetting that it was Krishna, her own God. So that is the beauty of Yashoda. We find that she knew that Krishna is nothing but God, but at the same time, Sri Ramakrishna's mother also found so many got the experiences that Sri Ramakrishna is nothing but God. She kept the small child on her bed, came out, and when entered, she found a huge person, all light emanating, 4 hands, the Vishnu lying on the bed. And she came running out and told, something has happened to my child, not caring for the Vishnu or that darshan. She wanted God as a child. Of course, Swami Vivekananda's mothers also prayed that Shiva should come as a child. But when Vivekananda came and he was so naughty, then the mother used to say, I prayed to Shiva to come as a child, but by mistake Shiva has sent a demon, his follower, as my child. So like that. But a very peculiar thing, the small child, so naughty, it was so difficult to pacify him. Moment you say, if you are behaving like this, Shiva will never allow to enter you in his abode. Immediately will be cool. Or if you are pouring water on his head, or Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah, then immediately. So this proves the existence of God, the personal God, the conception that Hindus have developed. So one attitude, if we are taking and proceeding, then come Madhura, very difficult attitude, which Radha was having, and some of the lady saints we find, they were also having the same attitude towards Krishna as their paramour, as their husband. So this is so many ways one can go. This is the beauty of the Hinduism. But Master Mahasaya, as because he was modern educated, so he was constantly doubting, and he was talking with Sri Ramakrishna, and he said, when one sees God, does one see with these eyes? Can we see God with these eyes? Then Sri Ramakrishna said, God cannot be seen with these eyes. Then he is explaining, God cannot be seen with these physical eyes. In course of spiritual discipline, one gets a love body endowed with love eyes. As a purity comes in the physically also, and they forget that this is a physical body. Constantly they think this is the body of God. Sometimes some of the saints we have seen, they decorate the body. And people sometimes they misunderstand that. But when they are decorating, they are not decorating their own body. They are decorating the body of the God. Because they see God within constantly. And we try to do that by offering our food to God and then partaking. When we are meditating, we try to see God within our heart. Then slowly we are transforming to God itself. When you are doing the puja, the Hindu pujas, the priest is supposed to think that he is nothing but the God. Devam bhutva devam yajet. I am God myself. I am worshipping myself. This is the Vedanta, and the Advaita Vedanta sometimes is practicing in very much Dvaita. When we are worshipping the God, we sit and then try to think, I am nothing but this God. I am becoming Sri Ramakrishna myself, then worshipping Sri Ramakrishna. I am becoming Kali myself and then worshipping Kali. So this is the approach. Devam bhutva devam yajet. And then you can see God. Then afterwards he is telling, but this is not possible without intense love of God. Don't think it is possible simply you see. Sometimes people can imagine. You will see when you are imagining, imposing, slowly, your behavior, attitude, everything changes. In the worldly life also, if you observe, some of the young people, particularly the teenagers, they are impressed by the heroes of the movies. They will be practicing his favorite hero, how the hero is walking, he will also practice that. Hero is walking only in the cinema in that particular time. But this fellow, he is so much impressed, he thinks that that is, and they will be having the haircut of the heroes. If you go to these shops, they will keep the photos of different heroes having different type of haircuts. So they will have the haircut, they will have that type of attitude, they will try to speak also in that fashion, and slowly they think that they are also in that person. Similarly, in spirituality also, when we are imposing the godliness, that purity, that love within us, we also transform. Then we forget that we are this materialistic body. And this type of all our things, we forget. That is called, and that's why Sri Ramakrishna is telling, but this is not possible without intense love of God. One sees nothing but God everywhere. When one loves Him with great intensity, it's like a person with jaundice, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, who sees everything yellow. Then one feels, I am verily He. Through the Dvaita, through worshipping the personal God, one becomes Advaita. He becomes that God himself. And that is the reason when the Radha was constantly thinking she is different than Krishna, Krishna never came to her. In the beginning, Krishna came, and slowly when Krishna wanted that she should feel that Krishna is everywhere, including her, she was not ready to accept it. Then the beautiful way in the life of Krishna, when we read, very charming, but most of the people, they misunderstand it. Because the way they're expressing the divine play, then the Radha went to dance with the Krishna at the one time. She saw, where is Krishna? Krishna is dancing with all other gopis. And she naturally, in the worldly way, she was angry. She never wanted to talk to Krishna, never wanted to see him. All these things went. Then ultimately, when she understood one Krishna with everyone, that means Krishna is all pervading. And then she started seeing Krishna on the grasses, Krishna on the sky, Krishna on the trees, Krishna on everything. She found back Krishna. And that is the Jhulan, that swing that they are having, that is the Milan. It is not a male or a female. It is the devotee and the God. When the devotee thinks that I am the God myself and God is all pervading, whatever I see is nothing but the manifestation of the same God, that is called the perfect realization. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati. In the Bhagavad Gita it says. And the same God is telling, Sarva dharman parityajya, mam ekam sharanam bhaja. Mam, ekam. I am only one. And that is the way. Jesus is the way. And the moment said, we misunderstood it. That means how Jesus prayed to God. Way means the practices of Jesus, knowledge of Jesus, experience of Jesus, teachings of Jesus. That you have to follow. But we took only the person. We accept the person. Or then that means I have to only go to Jesus. No, not like that. Jesus is the way, the moment says. Krishna also says, Sarva dharman parityaj. And who is that Krishna? All-pervading God. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra. So we have to understand totality. The tattvata we have to understand. Here Sri Ramakrishna is telling that when you are worshipping, you are becoming God yourself. And after doing puja, worshipping God or practicing religion, how can I be angry with others? How can I criticize others? How can I try to harm others? How can I kill others? Is it possible? That means the sadhana, the young lady came, she is doing some research in chemistry. She was telling that I am trying to do so many things. Because she wants to develop some process, she told it's not coming. I am so frustrated. And I was working day and night. Then I thought, let me go to ashram and spend a night, because result is not coming and I am becoming slowly losing the patience. Let me go. She came, stayed the night, prayed to God. She is not having so much of faith, but still she came. I told, go to God, pray to Him. And maybe that suddenly someone will come, maybe your guide will come, professor will come. One little clue and you will be successful. So it goes like this. When we are going to God, trying to realize God, God is all the time away. So difficult to realize. And not only that, He will create all difficult problems also. And sometimes in the mind, the devotion becomes so dry. And we wonder, oh, I don't want God at all. How come? I don't like to take the name of God. Why? What has happened to me? I can't pray, I can't meditate, I can't do japa, can't read also. What has happened to me? These are all God tests. And you have to go on praying to God only. Then only you are saved. When the mother is beating the child is not running away. If the child is running away, there is another chance of getting the beating. But if the child is hugging the mother, then the mother herself will take her on the lap. So that is the way. You have to go to the root. When there is a problem, usually we always say, oh, there is no God. Why should I have to pray to God? Wrong. When the difficult days, we have to go on praying and try to say that I am you only. Then why you are giving so much of trouble to me? How come that I am forgetting you? That is what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. In all the approaches, Santya, Dashya, Shakya, Vatsalya, Madhura, and the attitude of the child, Vatsalya, that is also all time we have to have two things. First, foremost, conviction that God is their faith. And second, I am the part and parcel of God. Maybe right this moment I cannot realize it, but that is the truth. And someday I am going to get it, I am going to know it. In Bengali there is a beautiful song when we were young, we used to sing, I used to sing. Jano nare mon ami putra tar. Oh my mind, you do not know, I am the son of God. And all these things that you see is nothing but my father's property. I am the heir, I am going to inherit all this. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling, only two things you have to know. What? Who am I? Who am I? Who am Sri Ramakrishna in the form of Sri Ramakrishna? Who is he? And then, who are you? What are our relations? Then he said, if you come to me, I will give you all my treasure to you. As the father gives his all property to the son, he will get everything. Think of it. So that is how we have to approach, but it is not so easy. You have to go on intensely practicing. Then he is telling, gopis were intoxicated with love, exclaimed, these gopis, they said, verily I am Krishna. They were so much ready to serve Krishna. When they found that Krishna is walking on the road rough, there are pebbles are there, all the gopis lied down and asked the Krishna, walk on our body, so that your feet should not get hard. So much love. And the same thing we find in the modern days. When the Ma Sharadamani Devi was coming, I think she was coming from Jairambati or going from Calcutta to Jairambati. In those days, she used to travel by the bullock carts. They were rough, so naturally the roads were also muddy road. In one place, it was dark night. One of our Swami, Trigunatitananda ji, I think Trigunatitananda ji, I have forgotten that particular. And he was also walking along with that. He found that there is a road, there's a gap is there. It can go, but there will be a big jerking. Mother is asleep inside. He asked that the person who was driving the cart, I am lying over this. You drive the cart on my body so that there should not be any jerking and the mother won't get the sleep break. If she is sleeping, she should continue sleep. Mother got up because she is goddess, she understood. Immediately got up and said, what is it? Why you are behaving like this? What is there? Suppose I get up and my sleep break. I will sleep again. But you are sacrificing your life for that. Don't do it. And he was saved. See the way the love, you have to love God. It doesn't matter what happens to me, but I am going to protect the God and Goddess. The Raja Maharaj, Swami Brahmananda ji, he was going in a carriage and mother in another carriage with her all other companions. At the time of coming back, Raja Maharaj, he never used to talk. He simply came running and sat in that particular carriage where mother was sitting. The other ladies, they started shouting, what this Raja is doing, why he should behave like that. Now who will go and talk to him? Because his personality, it is very difficult to approach him. He was sitting quietly. Mother looked at him, didn't say anything, rather changed the carriage. The one which was for Raja Maharaj, which was for the Brahmananda ji, she boarded in that, others also. After some time, this carriage, which was supposed to carry mother, it got accident. As because only Swami Brahmananda ji was sitting over there, he got little hurt. But suppose mother with all her followers, ladies, children, what would happen to them? That is why mother told, I knew he is going to save us. Mother also knew, but at the same time, think of the sacrifice. So that is the way the Thakur is telling that you have to think in that way. a Master Mahashaya all the time doubting. He is listening, but at the same time the question is cropping up in his mind. Sri Ramakrishna was telling, one who thinks of God days and night beholds him everywhere. Immediately, it is like the flames, it is like a man seeing flame on all sides after he has gazed fixed at one flame for some time. Master Mahashaya doubting. Sometimes when you were intently looking to a gazing fixed with a flame, then afterwards we see the flame everywhere. This is normal, natural experience. Master Mahashaya, Sri Mahendranath Gupta, the teacher who has written this book, the moment he heard Sri Ramakrishna is telling like that, one sees God everywhere. If one can think God all the time, he was thinking it is like this. If you are looking at the flame, seeing flame everywhere, but in reality it is nothing. He was thinking. Immediately, Amy is thinking, and Sri Ramakrishna gave the answer. Who could read man's innermost thought? Immediately replied. One doesn't lose consciousness by thinking of him who is all spirit. Sri Ramakrishna is giving the reply the moment this thought or the doubt, the question crossed the mind of the Master Mahashaya. He is replying, it is not like that, because it is the consciousness, it is the spirit that you are thinking, it is not unconsciousness. Master Mahashaya understood it, and then he is telling, yes sir, I realize that. It isn't like thinking of an unusual object. How can a man lose his intelligence if he always fixes his mind on God, whose very nature is eternal intelligence? And Sri Ramakrishna was pleased, and he said, it is through God's grace that you understand that. Doubts of the mind will not disappear without His grace. Doubts do not disappear without self-realization. See, the same sentence he is repeating twice, but in the philosophy there are two very different paths. One is personal God, there the God is there, conception of God is there. God the creator, the sustainer, the preserver, like that. And again then Advaita Vedanta, there is no God conception, there is no creator. So obviously they think about the self, their consciousness, all pervading. Sri Ramakrishna, when giving the answer, covering the whole. So the Advaitin cannot say, oh, that was only for those who are on the path of devotion. He is telling, doubts do not disappear without self-realization. And again telling, doubts of the mind will not disappear without God's grace, His grace. So he is covering both the points. Then Master Mahashaya again, but why should God make us run about? Sri Ramakrishna is telling, but one need not fear anything if one has received the grace of God. It is rather easy for a child to stumble if he holds his father's hand, but there can be no such fear if the father holds the child's hand. Then he is telling, everything is nothing but the God's play. He thinks that it should be. The Master Mahashaya asking this question, but why should God make us run about? And this is the question, is a very interesting question. God has created both. There is in the Gita also, Bhagavad Gita, we find they are telling Kshetra and Kshetragya. There's two words, Kshetra, the field, and the knower of the field, or the master of the field, Kshetragya. And there the God is telling, I am both, Kshetra and Kshetragya. But the Kshetra is nothing but this body and this world that you see. outside world, external world. But if you understand the reality of the external world, what is really it is. See, the science for so many 100 years going on experimenting what actually it is, and going on getting new thoughts. Suddenly they discovered some Higgins bones, and they said this is the smallest. First they discovered atom, and all over the world people were rejoicing, oh, we have discovered the ultimate. Then proton, neutron, all this came. Now the Higgins bone, everywhere people were discussing about it, and particularly in India mostly it will be published in such a way. Even the ordinary people, they will be sitting in a tea shop and be reading the newspaper and will be discussing about the high scientific discoveries without mostly not understanding, but some conception. So like that only, now they are telling the smaller also than these it has come. Then where is the end of it? That is why in the spirituality long back they discovered that it has come from God or the self or the Atman or the Brahman, in whichever name you can call it, describe it. But you cannot understand it completely unless and until you realize it. And the moment you realize it, you cannot express in words or in any manner. Only you are giving some hints, Sat Chit Ananda Sarupa. So that is the thing, consciousness. And when the Master Moshe is asking why he is giving us trouble, making us run, if this type of fun and we are suffering, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, but who are you? Kshetra and Kshetragya both are nothing but the same God. Are you not God yourself? So this is but why should God make us run about? Immediately Sri Ramakrishna said, it is His will that we should run about a little, then it is great fun for Him. God has created the world in play. God has created the world in play, as it were. This is called Mahamaya, the great illusion. He has created the world, and this is nothing but the illusion. And this is the point most of us we do not understand. Why? Because we are in illusion. As long as we are in that illusion, how can we understand that? Unless and until we go beyond that, we won't be able to understand it. So this is the main point of spirituality, problem of religion. So we are practicing religion, we are going to temple, we are going to all the holy places, praying and doing so many things, but still not getting complete confidence or the faith that I am that same. Why should I have to do all these things? Nothing can touch me. Whatever I am doing is nothing but God's play. So I am doing it because I have been asked to play. Some in different places the people are in drama, and the person who is directing, the director, he will ask the actor or actresses, you play like this, you see things like this, you deliver the word and speak like this, behave like this. He is simply doing that. And sometimes the director will come and rectify, correct and all that. Some people are suffering, some people are enjoying, but afterwards it's nothing. When I was a very young kid, I was returning back from school. In those days, here and there, they used to have the street dramas, and people used to give lot of money. These people, where from they used to come, we do not know, but they will be dressing mainly as a Rama, Lakshmana, Sita, Bharata, and the Ramayana sometimes. And the Rama, that play was going on. I saw some of the crowd, so I also peeped through. I saw that Rama is banishing Sita. And as a kid, and as Sita is profusely crying and telling the please, please, but Rama is adamant, and someone took her and she went backward. And there was some plants, trees, pictures of the jungle. So she went inside. Out of lot of compassion to help her, I also went at the backside. Tried to see where she is going, what will happen to the poor lady. I said, where is the lady? She has removed that wig and smoking a cigarette. That was a shock to me so much, in that I believed it so much. Then it came to me, oh, this is drama. So this is the experience when we are children. And in this world, we are behaving like children. We are crying, we are praying, we are demanding, we are wanting. All these things which will never remain. All will go away. And that only we will understand when we experience. How? By the grace of God again. And what is that God? Next day and next Tuesday, again we will study this. Here Sri Ramakrishna is telling that there is the most important thing, Shakti. The God's power, it creates, it gives mukti, and also bandhan, it binds. So you have to go to that Shakti. There's a different aspect of God, otherwise it is impossible. So that is the reason we will understand that God, suppose a person who is in the office, he can do so many things when he is working. But the same person when goes back to his home, there if you go and approach him, he said, no, I can do the same thing here. You have to come and meet me in the office. There he is displaying his power. There he is the boss. He can take the decision. Same person. But in the home, in his residence, he is totally different type of person. He is cleaning his own car, or cooking, playing with the children, just observing or enjoying the game, TV, watching TV. So like this only. If you go there and try to discuss the business, no, not here. I am not ready mentally. So you have to come to the office. Almost similar. Same God. Sometimes he is Shiva, doing nothing, simply lying down. If you go and approach the Shiva, he says, no, not here. You have to go to Kali. When I am working, when I am active, when I am creating, when I am destroying, there you come. And that particular form has been framed, or just to understand, for our ordinary people, Kali, Mother. That is the Shakti. God and his Shakti. The Shakti is performing, working. But Hindus, they like to think that God's Shakti as women. And the woman, when we see that she is playing, it is difficult to understand her, and easy also to get the blessings from. And like this, it is only game. So we will try to understand, this is the conception on which Shakta religion has come. Shakta philosophy has come. Shakti, Shakta. So that Sri Ramakrishna, he will say, the devotee assumes various attitudes towards Shakti in order to propitiate her. So this is where we will go on the next day. I will try to understand this. The Shakti is a difficult conception, but we will try to understand it. Let us pray, offer our pranam. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai ishavataram parameshamidyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namamaha. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.